In this case, it's the period on the end of the sentence that says Joe Biden tried to run for the nomination, for the Democrat nomination. This is the period at the end of the sentence that says he didn't make it. He didn't get there. When your competitors, a fairness thing, and do you get everybody? Here's another one. So Joe Biden suggests 3 months of rent forgiveness. Is that a good idea? I don't know. I mean, and again, I have a pretty good background in this stuff, and I don't know. I really don't. My own idea went like this, that for 3 months, nobody said, he was talking about Joe Biden and Joe Biden's comment that, that Trump was the first racist president. Well, if you're Joe Biden and you're trying to get the black vote, one thing you probably should not say is that, that Trump is the first racist president, whereas and also Joe Biden may have gotten bomb packages that also did not go off. What is it about this particular group of Democrats? Because I saw that De Niro's spokesperson said, well, it's obvious that that these people have...
And then it said, Joe Biden, why did you say that you were going to pick a black vice president? And they say Hispanics are more than 18% of the country. The black population is 13-ish.
And the more you see Joe Biden, the worse Democrats will do, even if Joe Biden is not the nominee, because he becomes part of their brand. Joe Biden is probably taking the energy right out of the Democrats right now. I would love to be in the room in terms of persuasion or communicating. So Joe Biden had the following tweet, which I give him a grade of A for. And he said, I can't believe I have to say this, but please don't drink bleach. Now, of course, he's playing on the fake news as if the president actually had ever suggested it or they hadn't looked into it, etc. You know, Joe Biden, don't you imagine Joe Biden hasn't really looked into it, right? Or when was the last time Joe Biden got a detailed, update on nuclear power? I mean, I'm sure he's been updated lots of times in the past, but probably not recently. So, but what if he doesn't? Suppose Joe Biden doesn't debate. What happens then? Well, then he loses the other way. Because if you don't debate, I think that's essentially admitting you can't do the job. Right? If you don't debate and you're running for president, you can do things, whereas Joe Biden can't do things. So the president doesn't have to just talk about lowering drug costs. He can just do it. And apparently he's well on his way to doing it. We'll see if this stuff holds, but I'll bet it will. You all had a good laugh. Joe Biden is actually smart and capable when you talk to him in person. It's just that when he does things in public, he's sort of lost his step, so he can't keep up. In a public venue, he can't really keep up anymore. Preferences. Unlike Joe Biden, I think everybody is different. I don't lump people by ethnicity. No, I don't. I believe we are all special and different and unique. And I think that the only thing that could make this morning better, well, maybe not the only thing, yesterday, he's talking about if Sleepy Joe Biden, the puppet of the left, ever won, markets would crash and cities would burn, which I think is actually literally true. The markets would crash and cities would burn. It's funny, you just automatically think that's hyperbole. But I don't know. 1,000 news stories a day, and there's Joe Biden, and he's running against Trump, and some people are saying he's got some cognitive abilities, but there's so many other things. What about healthcare? What about? So at the moment, because the Joe Biden thing has been a slow decay. Joe Biden had one of the most classic gaffes I've ever heard. And this one, he didn't even stop to correct it.
And he said in a sentence, we have to get our kids back to school. And then he said in the same sentence,
quote, this is an actual quote from Joe Biden talking to an audience. I think I'm either, he was talking about the president giving him nicknames. And he says, quote, I think I'm either low IQ or slow. I don't know what I am. Slow Joe Biden? Run some scam, and Joe Biden isn't going to run some scam in the middle of an election. But there it was. Now, what's interesting is, you may not know this, but Joe Biden is not actually the only person who's running for president this year. There's this other guy, you've heard of him, Trump.
Treating them as a monolith. I don't want to go all Joe Biden on you, but it is true that while there are many diverse voices in every group, it is true that the black community, one would expect, would see the same benefits that you and I see.
Pollock in Breitbart today talking about Joe Biden, who will not disavow the protesters who are also the violent ones. And this puts him in the category of saying that all the people at the riots are fine people, which is turnabout is fair to get canceled. Am I wrong that if Joe Biden goes into a debate, it's going to be a bad situation for him? I think they have to at least extend the scare long enough to make the debates not happen. That's got to be the key. Riddle me this. If Joe Biden were not running against Trump, could the tech companies be so pro-Biden and anti-Trump? Could they get away with it? Because is it a coincidence that the tech companies are universally supporting the most pro-China candidate? People are asking, will Joe Biden run? God, I hope so. Is there anybody else here who hopes Joe Biden will run? Am I the only one who thinks that would be the most fun? I don't think anybody else would be fun.
Put it this way. If there had never been any such thing as a Joe Biden or a Hunter Biden, let's say they had never been born and didn't exist, would it still make sense for President Trump to withhold funds from Ukraine until the phone call? And the answer is yes. Yes, it would. Because what this president...
No. Was it Joe Biden? Sort of. Sort of. By election day, he had continued to decline, so he was no longer allowed to use pencils or anything that had a sharp point on it. But that didn't matter because he had a strong vice president. And it is also true that Joe Biden is on record referring to, I don't know who he was referring to, Obama, I think. And he called him articulate, right? He called Obama articulate. Now, one of the things I would say about Obama, if I did not back Kim Jong-un over Joe Biden, in a sense, the fact that he would do that without a second hesitation makes me feel good. Because Kim Jong-un, what does he want in the world besides survival? And I'm sure he wants good things for his country.
In a different way, I think Joe Biden could actually die on camera, and the people, the Democrats would say he's fine, and it would turn into this Monty Python sketch about the dead parrot, and it would look exactly like that.
News from the future had an actual quote from Joe Biden that he has never said. That they're acting like he'll say that in the future. To which I say, also completely normal. Completely normal. Web designer just said, he'll say something like this. I'll adjust it later if he does. It was more like